Did Tyreek Hill request a trade again from the Miami Dolphins? It feels like every other week we have a new Tyreek Hill trade rumor. I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Obviously, the first potential trade request came after week 18, where Hill basically said he wants to get out of here in a tirade after the Jets beat the Dolphins in the final week of the regular season. Now, he did not walk that back until about a month ago, but the Dolphins never showed any interest in potentially trading Tyreek Hill. So it seemed like everything was quiet on the Tyreek Hill trade front until late on Sunday afternoon when he went on a Twitter tirade, when David Fisher had a tweet of, "Would you be open to trading Tyreek Hill?" And then Hill quote tweeted with a smiley face emoji. Then Over the Caps said, or possibly Tyreek Hill, in regards to a question of who's the most likely star traded on draft night. And then Hill puts out the deuces on quote tweeting that, and then tweets out separately deuces as well. So it's just adding fuel to the fire of a potential trade this offseason. And you would have seen this and my initial thoughts and reactions to the Tyreek Hill Twitter tirade if you followed me on Twitter at Nick_Roloff. I was talking about it last night before coming up today and making a video. So go give me a follow for everything you need surrounding the Miami Dolphins. But when it comes to Tyreek Hill, he is an incredible football player. I have enjoyed watching him play football every Sunday, Monday, Thursday for the Miami Dolphins over the last 3 seasons. But he might be one of the most childish people in the NFL. And to me, anything he says, you have to take with a grain of salt. I don't take him serious when he speaks to the media. I don't take him serious when he's on Twitter or social media. He just is that type of guy. And it just continued to add more fuel to that last night. But also then yesterday or today as well, when Tyreek Hill said, or NFL Rumors, said Tyreek Hill reportedly would be okay if he was traded to a playoff contender. That came out yesterday. Well, this morning, Tyreek Hill quote tweeted that and said, LOL, another false narrative. So you had him going on Twitter yesterday and insinuating that he wants to get traded, typing the deuces, smiley emoji when it comes to a trade rumor, and then comes out this morning and says, nah, that's another false narrative. It's just exhausting. It is. Like, I am just so bored. I'm so tired. I don't want to deal with anymore of Hill just constantly playing with Dolphins fans. And he just says he's trolling. Well, guess what? Unfortunately for a lot of people out there, this is not a joking matter. They love the Dolphins with a lot of their heart, and when this stuff constantly is just being thrown out there, it just gets tiring. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Like, Tyreek Hill, he's an awesome wide receiver, but he is a very frustrating person to have on your football team with all the off the field and social media antics, and I am sick of it. But are you sick of it? Do you want to trade Tyreek Hill? Because I know a lot of Dolphins fans do want to trade him this offseason. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Type T for trade or type K for key. Well, it's funny because Tyreek Hill in 3 seasons has already cemented himself as a top 5 wide receiver in Dolphins history. Like, let's be honest here. The Dolphins don't have the most luxurious history at the position. And when he puts up back-to-back years of 1,700 yards and a total of 20 touchdowns, yeah, he's already going to be in that discussion. Down season this past year, but I think a lot of that can be attributed to Tua Tagovailoa missing 6 games and him having to play with Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, and Tim Boyle. Like, he's been elite for the Dolphins over the past 3 seasons, playing in those 50 games. And if you are someone who wants the Dolphins to play winning football in 2025, you don't want to trade Tyreek Hill. And I got to be honest, I don't want to trade Tyreek Hill this offseason. But I think it is time for us to recognize that the decision and the breakup, if you will, of Tyreek in Miami, it's coming sooner rather than later. Like, he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and it does not bode well for Hill to still be on this roster in 2026. So even though I am someone who could be looking to move on from Tyreek Hill, it simply will not be right now. It just won't. The Dolphins are operating with him on the roster and are expected to have him on the roster for this upcoming season, but also it doesn't really make sense financially. But I did want to mention what Mike McDaniel said on Monday morning at the NFL owners' meetings when he was asked about Tyreek Hill. He said, Tyreek is known for whatever antics on social media. I can say with certainty at this certain moment that we are fully planning to move forward with Tyreek on the team this coming season, and I expect a great version of him in 2025. That comes of no surprise to me because it has been widely reported that the Dolphins want him on this roster in this upcoming season. But anytime the Dolphins have any rumors, whether it be trade rumors, free agency rumors, draft rumors, or news, we will have you covered with a video on the channel, sometimes 2 videos a day. So hit that sub button, join us here at the channel. I have consistently mentioned that the Dolphins will not be trading Tyreek Hill this offseason. You might ask why. Well, it's because the financial aspect of it. It makes no sense. When you look at his contract for 2025, he has a $27.7 million cap hit in 2025. It comes bigger if he's traded before June 1st. So the moral of the story is this. The Dolphins will not be trading Tyreek Hill before June 1st. And you also saw on screen that the Dolphins do only have a cap hit of $12.7 million if he's traded after June 1st. But my question is this. Why are you trading Tyreek Hill after June 1st to save you money, and you would get a middle 2026 pick? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't help your team now. And if you don't have the cap space to be utilized in free agency, what's the point? You might as well hold on to him for another season and then deal with this in the offseason before the 2026 NFL season. And Tyreek Hill, although he has his deficiencies, is still playing at a relatively solid level. Last year, even though his raw numbers weren't that good, his analytical numbers were pretty solid. There was a couple of them that weren't the best, like QB rating per target, ranking 51st in the NFL, and then the EPA, which was 41st in the NFL. But he still wins his routes at a pretty high rate, 13th, 14th, and 20th in the National Football League. So it's good to know that Tyreek Hill is still separating, but as someone who does rely on speed rather than being a technician and not being able to be a jump ball guy, when his speed evidently leaves him and other players catch up, you wonder how effective he could be. But I do want Dolphins fans to get ready because Tyreek Hill's final year as a member of the Miami Dolphins will be this season. Like, I want that to be abundantly clear. This will be the final year Tyreek Hill plays for the Miami Dolphins. I'll explain why in just a second. But hey, guess what just came available online? Dolphins draft hats. Yes, the hats that the player Miami will take in late April. They are on sale. They have so many different options, whether it's the curved brim, the standard little flat brim that's slightly curved. You can get the standard version. You can get the one with the palm tree icon. There's just so many different ways you can get it. They got all different sizes, fitted, snapback. They got them all. Right now, chatsports.com/Dolphins draft hats is the link where you can go get them. That will be in the description and comments of today's video. Take advantage right now. Get the hats. I actually think they're pretty sweet. I think they're better than the ones that they've had over the past couple of years. All right, when I keep on saying that Tyreek Hill's final year as a Dolphin is going to be 2025, it's because of his 2026 contract. Well, it's the final year of his deal. Now, he's got some void years on it, but unless the Dolphins extend Tyreek Hill, he is simply not going to be playing for the Dolphins. Why? Because he's not going to have a $52.8 million cap hit. It would be ludicrous to pay a wide receiver and have that be his cap hit in the last year of his deal. So that's not going to happen. And when you look at the financial situation, if he gets cut next season, if they cut him prior to June 1st, they save $36.3 million and only a $15.5 million in dead cap. And if it happens post June 1st, it only saves you $2.8 million more. So it's obvious to me that this is the final year. Like, sure, maybe he gets traded at the NFL trade deadline. Like, that's the only way I don't see him playing out the rest of this contract, at least in 25. But it is clearly going to happen where he gets dealt or cut, in 2026 early offseason because you save $36 million and then you'll just be able to sign other free agents because the Dolphins don't have a lot of cap space slotted for next offseason. That $36 million will come in handy for Miami. And that's why I'm already starting kind of the idea of us needing to go get a new long-term wide receiver, if you will. Now, the future of this room lies on the shoulders of Jalen Waddle. He will be your new wide receiver 1 after this season, but you need to complement him with other good wide receivers, which is why I think it's beneficial for the Miami Dolphins to draft a wide receiver in the middle rounds of this draft. And I got a question. When I talk about drafting a wide receiver in the middle rounds, name a wide receiver you might like to draft. I think we've talked about a lot. I'm going to have more that we're going to discuss here in just a second. But name a wide receiver in the draft that you like and you want to draft. Get down in the comment section. So I have a list of 8 guys that I have kind of started to really start to like as options for Miami in the late 3rd round, maybe early 4th round, 5th round, and then potentially in the 7th round as well. Someone I've always mentioned here is Pat Bryant from Illinois. I'm a big fan of Pat Bryant. I would take him with one of the 4 or the 2 4th-round picks we have. Isaiah Bond's an intriguing guy because he's a speed guy, but he didn't run as quick as he thought he would at the 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine. I think he could be a good understudy for Tyreek Hill in the 4th round. Tory Horton's an intriguing guy. Savion Williams, Nick Nash, Jaylin Lane is an absolute burner. And then I want to mention Kyren Lacy. He has a dark cloud hanging over him right now in terms of the legal process, but we'll see. He's training for the draft, and if he is cleared and good to go, then Lacy is definitely a talented wide receiver I would draft, but we'll have to see how that plays out. The truth is, the Dolphins just need to add more to this room. I think right now, I am very much fine with these 4 on screen being your top 4 guys in 2025 in Tyreek, Jaylin, Westbrook-Ikhine, and Malik Washington, but those depth pieces aren't adequate enough. Tariq Black is not good enough, in my opinion. Eric Ezukama is not good, and D. Eskridge is nothing more than a potential special teams guy. I know you have Taj Washington, a 7th-round pick, coming back as well from a year ago, but I would like to see the Dolphins add another player in this NFL draft to this wide receiver room on day 3 or maybe day 2 at the end in the 3rd round if you really like a certain prospect. The point is this. The Miami Dolphins have 10 picks right now for the NFL draft. That could change with trades and trading down, trading up, but if you are making 10 selections, you can probably find one of those picks to be used on a wide receiver, especially with Tyreek Hill aging and likely off this team after this season. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for them to draft a wide receiver. Those 8 guys I mentioned are good late day 3, late round 3, early day 3 picks. So we'll keep an eye on what Miami ultimately does. And when it comes to the NFL draft, we will have you covered everything you need to know. So hit that sub button. Join us here at Dolphins Today as we will break down the Miami Dolphins every single day with videos. So subscribe.